Don't worry, this video contains no spoilers for Guardians of the Galaxy, just a lot of comic book nerding out. What's up, guys? It's Mighty, and today we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. I just saw it last night, and I have opinions. Everything's very fresh to me at the moment. I'll preface it by saying I'm a big comic book nerd. Actually, I don't read comics anymore because I couldn't afford them, but I'm big into the universe and kind of what's going on. With that being said, I actually know less about Guardians of the Galaxy from a comic book perspective than any of the other Marvel stuff that has come out. Hawkeye, Iron Man, Thor, I can tell you a bunch of stuff about them, but Guardians, I need the broad strokes, but as far as like specific the characters and their, little villains and quirks and little nods, I didn't know. So I'm sure people that are super into them are going to enjoy the movie even more than I did because they'll get a lot of the little inside jokes that kind of maybe went over my head. Some of them I kind of got from context, but yeah. My biggest thing is the movie forces you to laugh with it is the biggest thing, the biggest compliment I can give the film. Marvel movies, to me, are best when they're not taking themselves too seriously. I think the route that DC is going with their films makes sense for their characters, because their characters tend to be a little bit more self-serious. Batman and Superman, they're very serious characters with no real sense of humor. Marvel, on the other hand, has quirkier, kookier, wittier, kind of snarkier characters. Iron Man and Hawkeye, and to a lesser extent like Hulk when he doesn't understand jokes and that kind of stuff. So I like it when they explore a little bit more of that side, and Guardians of the Galaxy pushes that farther than any Marvel film has to date. And that's not saying that comic book movies can't tell serious stories. I mean, Long Halloween I love, Demon in a Bottle I love, two big ones that pop to mind that are very serious character-based stories. But in general, especially for films, because at the end of the day, comic books are dumb. I love them. I will always love them, but comic books are dumb. It's a people that, out of whatever stupid reason, get superpowers and put on tights and fight crime. It's stupid. If it made sense, more people would do it in life. But Guardians of the Galaxy turns that a little bit on its head because it expands it to more of a galactic universe scale, where Thor kind of did that with alternate planes of existence, like different universes entirely. But Guardians of the Galaxy exists in the same world as the Iron Man films did, where they could go to Earth and do whatever they want to on Earth. So that's kind of a cool twist, a little bit on kind of that genre, but mostly it's straightforward from a storytelling perspective. It doesn't really do anything new to reinvent storytelling and plot structure, but it's kind of how the characters react to everything, and they, give little nods to the fact that, not that they're in a movie by any sense, it's not breaking the fourth wall in that sense, but like, when stuff is dumb, when stuff happening is dumb, they call attention to the fact that it's dumb. It's not a spoiler to say, but there's one moment where, Peter Quill gives this rousing speech to kind of get his team back on. It's, a very cliched thing before the final battle. He has his speech, like, rallying his troops, and, at the end they're like, well, no. And so he's like, well, fine, whatever, and kind of walks away a little bit. And one by one, then they stand up, and they're like, I'm with you, Peter. Yeah, I'm with you too, Peter. Yeah, I'm with you, Peter. And then Rocket Raccoon stands up at the end. He's like, all right, fine, I guess I'm with you guys too. And now we're all standing. Are you guys happy? We're all just standing here looking like jackasses. So that little kind of stuff really helps it separate in its silliness from a little bit more self-serious Marvel films like Thor to a certain extent and Captain America. But it's all about building the world. Like, I was really worried going into it how they were going to explain all this stuff with, the Kree Empire, the Nova Corps, how the Guardians of the Galaxy work. It's all these different planets and species, and how are they going to give all this exposition? And the short answer is they don't. Like, they set up at the beginning that there's some kind of conflict. There's a war between the Kree and the Xandar. And there's a peace treaty, but, some of the Kree guys are like fanatics. They don't really want to go with the peace treaty, and so they're trying to kill everybody. And that's kind of the plot. And there's this orb, that there's something inside of this orb that Peter Quill finds, and it contains something that is very bad for people, potentially. It's some kind of weapon. And it's eventually revealed what that is, and I didn't see it coming, but after it happened, I was like, oh, of course that's what it is. And it sets up a really cool way because Thanos is in this, that's not a spoiler to say. He's kind of the overarching, they're setting him up for the future Avengers movies, I'm sure, and the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And they set up this orb, what's in the orb, as a weapon that he's going to eventually try to use, I'm sure. But I don't know, it's a fun ride, man. Christopher Pratt as Peter Quill, Star-Lord. He's very Han Solo-esque, but it's really an ensemble cast in terms of the film. I expected it to be like his story, and the other guys are kind of set dressy, but that's really not how it went. Obviously, expectedly, Rocket Raccoon and Groot are kind of the standout funny characters, but even, Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer, he gets a lot of really funny stuff. He doesn't understand metaphors, and so there's a lot of really funny give and take there, and it doesn't get old. And like Michael Rooker, I don't remember the character's name, but he's basically playing the same guy from Walking Dead, but he's blue. Like he's got the same Hickvillian accent. He's got some fake teeth and I don't know. It's just it's a dumb good time, man. Like John C. Reilly is being a moron in the scenes he's in. And then on the other side, the kind of villain story does take itself very seriously because they're setting up Thanos. And Ronan, who's kind of the main bad guy of this, the main plot-driving bad guy, played by Lee Pace, who I really like. You probably won't recognize him, but you might know him. He's in the Hobbit movies. He plays Thranduil, I think is the name. And he was in Pushing Daisies, the main guy in Pushing Daisies. I think he's a fantastic actor. I didn't even know he was in this, and when I saw him in the credits, I wouldn't have recognized him. And he is chewing up scenery like crazy, hamming it up like crazy, but I bought it because it's dumb. Like, supervillains in comics are dumb, and they're twisting their whiskers kind of villains. And that's kind of how they are, because it's a silly thing. Like, all these space creatures existing. It's dumb. Like I was saying about the world building being really good, because they don't spend a lot of time explaining who the Kree are, who the Xandar are, how the Nova Corps works. They don't spend hardly any time at all. Like, they just set up the Nova Corps is the police of Xandar, and the Xandar are good guys, and then the Kree are potentially all bad guys, but whatever. And it's mainly the story of these misfit ragtag group of people trying to get the orb from one place to another, trying to make some money, and then eventually saving the universe or whatever, because that's how it always ends up. But they go to a lot of really cool places that people from fans of the comics will recognize, and they give, it's a smart little text thing on the bottom of this is the kiln, where it is, kind of what it is. It's like a jail, whatever. And that's just really easy exposition, and you don't really need to know any more than that. It's a space jail. That's kind of self-explanatory. What else? I guess that's kind of the biggest stuff. It really encourages you to invest in the characters and not so much the story, if that makes sense. But in a good way. You're along the ride with the characters. You're not necessarily worried, oh no, are they going to destroy the universe? They're not going to. It's a movie. The good guys are going to win in some capacity. So you're kind of just on this fun ride. They set up in the beginning with Peter Quill. I mean, it's at the very beginning of the movie, so it's not really a spoiler. His mom dies, and that's kind of how it's set up, where he gets taken into space for whatever reason. I won't go into that. But his mom, on her deathbed, gives him a present. And they use this really cool, not storytelling, but kind of setting device of, he has a Walkman that he listens to this mixtape of 70s pop rock songs, and he loves it, and he's always dancing to it, and they use that as a fun framing device for scene transitions, but also during fight scenes. It's not dramatic, crazy orchestral music. It's they're playing some 70s pop song and as they're fighting people, and it's really fun. And so they set that up, and she gives him this gift. And then at the very end, he opens it and reads a letter from her and blah, blah, blah. And what's in the gift, I knew, from the second she gave it to him, I knew exactly what it was going to be. But I suppose it was a fun reveal, and it was a nice character moment. The last big thing I'll say is make sure you stick around after the credits. There is a during credits scene that's a lot of fun, that happens right as the credits are starting. That's a lot of fun, but you have to wait till the very end of the credits for the stinger, it's brilliant. I was expecting something totally different, and it really, really surprised me. It was a lot of fun. Any fans of like old school, horrible Marvel comics will get a good laugh out of it in multiple ways. And I don't know if it's trying to set up something. I don't know if I want it to be or not. That's as much of a tease as I can give. Absolutely go see the movie. It's a solid like 9 out of 10 for me. I loved the characters. I was laughing the entire time. The action sequences were great. The biggest knock against it was really the story and how they kind of chose to tell the story. But I'll give it to them that it's such a complicated universe, literally, that they can't spend time investing in the actual power struggle between these, you know, the Kree and the Xandar and all that kind of stuff. They kind of just have to, they throw you right in the middle of it, which is the best way to do it. So I'm really curious to see what Guardians of the Galaxy 2 will be, because it's going to happen. There have been talks that they're potentially casting someone to play Nova, who is a superhero who occasionally is on the Avengers, who is like the Nova Corps that they set up as the police in this. He's more of a superhero of that. And I guess Nathan Fillion has been rumored to be playing Nova, which would be insane and amazing. But we'll see what happens. I kind of expect that to be happening in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, along with more fighting with Thanos. So go see it. I loved the movie. Like I said, solid 9 out of 10 for me. Definitely recommend it. Potentially, I mean, I need some time to think about it, but it's probably my favorite Marvel movie thus far, as far as like the Marvel Studios movies, not counting Spider-Man and X-Men and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Kept it spoiler-free. Don't want to ruin things for people, and I want people to actually be able to watch it since the movie's only been out for 2 days. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did and a comment with what you thought about it, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace out.